Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Welcome to Facts and Two Cents. This is Petal. Hope you all are having a fantastic week so far. Welcome to Facts and Two Cents. As you know, we are a channel that supports the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry, Meghan, Archie, Baby Lily, Mama Doria, Pula Guy, the chickens, all of us here at Sussex Squad, Mama Mia. Ooh, I always forget. But welcome. Oh my goodness, what's going on in our Sussex world? Well, they're pretty quiet. They're just living their life, being normal people. Yes, I know what's on the internet, and it's for privacy reasons. I will not be discussing it. Yes, I know. But yes, they are intrusive things, and it's just like, no, I'm not discussing it. So, but I love this photo. I don't think I ever saw it before. This is Harry and Meghan, obviously in Dusseldorf at the games, at the Invictus games, taking this photo with the American team, at least some of the American team. I just love it. I absolutely love it. I was like, oh, I don't think I saw this photo before. Maybe it was there and I just didn't notice it, but I love it. So I hope you do too. And again, I'll be doing some more Invictus videos because I miss Invictus and I love it, and it's very inspiring. And in these dark days, we need all the inspiring that we can have. So yeah, but I just love this photo. So and our wonderful Archewell are being Archewell, because we know, I mean, when it comes to Harry and Meghan, they are just always serving, and they're always taking care of the needs of people who are refugees, especially coming into the US. And they have been really focused on taking care of the Afghan refugees in so many ways. That they've donated, that they've gone and visited, and just, I mean, they are really there, doing everything they can to make them feel welcome and make that, help take care of their needs here. And so I had never heard of this organization before, but Culturingwa, they posted this. They said one of the programs offered at Culturingwa is the Afghan Cooking Social for Women. This is an opportunity for Afghan women to build community in San Antonio through cooking traditional food meals. Thank you to the Archewell Foundation for supporting this program. And I was like, well, what do you know? I mean, if there's food and there's this sort of needing of a community building event, I mean, hello, what better than Meghan? I mean, we know she's done this before. And so it's so wonderful to see. And you can see the cuisine over there. It's like, ooh, is it vegan? So one of the programs offered is the cooking social for women, and this is an opportunity for Afghan women to build community and in San Antonio through cooking traditional meals. And if all of that sounds familiar, and again, a little bit about Culture Ringo before we even get to why it sounds familiar, just in case you hadn't put it together. I'm sure if you're a squatty, you put that together. But for those of us who are just coming in and had not really been paying attention to the royals or paying attention to Harry and Meghan, and really don't know much about their life when they were in the UK and what they did back there, this is for you. And for others still. But a little bit about Culturingwa says it's a not-for-profit with a mission to cultivate, promote, and preserve the Middle Eastern, North African, and South Asian culture, linguistic, and artistic heritage. And it's based in San Antonio, Texas. Harry and Meghan are doing quite a bit of stuff in Texas. They have a sort of a pull to Texas in a way. We just saw Harry in Texas, and I think it was in Austin, Texas, last week. We've seen him there before, what was like a year and a half ago, whatever, doing rodeo or something. We saw Meghan there with the Uvalde community. They're out there in Uvalde, Texas, and now working with Culturingwa. They also took care of, when there was the ice storm, they also took care of the shelter for abused women. They also took care of the roofing of that shelter. That was also in Texas. So they are doing quite a bit of work in Texas, which is very interesting, while they do also work in California. and New York. So they are just sort of all over, and they're just doing amazing work. But again, if the work at Culturinois sounds familiar with, using food and coming together and cooking to build community, it's because we've seen that before. Here's Meghan with the ladies at the Grenfell, at the El Manar Center at the Grenfell Towers. And what was the Grenfell Tower? And we know the story of Grenfell that burned, and so many people lost their lives. And these women, these survivors of Grenfell, coming together and just cooking, and Meghan joining them and being part of their community. And out of that, and they were just, cooking at this place that I think it was once a week, because they didn't have, I guess, the kind of facility where they can do it every day. And then Meghan joined together with them and suggested they do a cookbook with all the amazing recipes that they had to do a cookbook. And of course, the rest is history. They did the cookbook, they launched it at Kensington Palace, and this is still on the market, is a bestseller cookbook. Around the world, this is a bestseller. And so you see the same pattern of Meghan really working with women through food. I mean, Meghan is a foodie and she's a cook. So anything to do with food and bringing people together, and bringing women together and men together to be able to create community around food, Meghan is there. I'm sure Harry is there. His tummy is there as well. I always remember that video of Prince Harry stealing the food at the when they launched the cookbook, and then got caught by the camera stealing food. It was very funny. It was like so Harry. But yeah. So I mean, I love these women, and I love this picture, and and I think Meghan is still in touch with them, and it's just I just want to see a new picture of them together. Maybe one day. I mean, I don't think Meghan would be going back to the UK anytime soon, but it just such incredible memories. Such incredible memories. I know the last time they were there in 2020, when during their last engagements, I think Meghan and Harry were there with them, and there's a photo of them all together. And I think if I'm not mistaken, Adele was also part of that day. So yes, but I just love these women, and Meghan. They just see her as one of them, and it's so wonderful. So kudos to Meghan and Archewell, bringing communities together again, as they always do, doing great work around the country. Yes. And if that's not enough, we talked about this before. Archewell, Meghan and Harry and Archewell, being part of Gianco, which is this organization that supply all, what's medical and all of this schooling and all of that stuff in Nigeria. And this scholarship program that Meghan and Harry are a part of with David Oyelowo. This is his scholarship program that is a part of Gianco, and Harry and Meghan joined it. And then obviously we talked about it before, where they were able to get these bags. They, send these bags full of supplies to these young ladies that are part of David Oyelowo's scholarship. And I talked about this last month, the end of last month. They had a gala in LA, and I was hoping that Harry and Meghan would be there, but they weren't. So that's a photo at the top of the gala with David and a bunch of people that were part of the Hollywood gala. And so Hollywood Reporter, a little late to the party, but Hollywood Reporter picked up a little bit about the Sussex's involvement with David Oyelowo's scholarship, and it's great. He talked about, it's a longer article where he talked about really his motivation, and the person that really inspired him to be able to start the scholarship was visiting Oprah's school in South Africa. And Oprah actually was Oprah was one of his first people that funded his scholarship program. And so it's really amazing that he's able to support these girls, their education. And so this is a little bit of the article in Hollywood Reporter. It says David Oyelowo and Gianco have partnered with two equally prominent philanthropists, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, to further help girls in Nigeria. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex, the Archewell Foundation, have donated base backpacks filled with school supplies and menstrual products to be distributed to young women. AWF support, Archewell Foundation support, will also provide menstrual health education for 2,500 girls in the region GENCO serves, supporting the health and well-being of girls pursuing their education, added the Archewell Foundation in a statement. Afam Onyema, the CEO of GNCO, founded by the Onyema family in 2005, says that he wanted to reach out to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex after Meghan revealed her Nigerian heritage last year. It was interesting when Meghan on her podcast last year announced that she was 43% Nigerian by DNA. The whole 23andMe thing. Onyema, who then asked Oyelowo if he could reach out to Marco. One thing I'm not shy about is asking. I ask those who are close to us, whether they be in Hollywood, executive, or David or Chitwell, because I realize I am not asking for myself. I am asking for these girls. I'm asking for people who are suffering in Nigeria. And so that was his comment about asking the Sussexes to be a part of his scholarship program and donating backpacks and also, donating services and helping the girls with education about menstrual health and all of those things. So, wonderful program as we remember those wonderful little girls, well, not little girls, they're young ladies, with their new backpacks filled with school supplies. And so it is just really wonderful. I don't know, it always boggles my mind how far Harry and Meghan's foundation have come in this 3 years it's been in existence. It is the impact they're making is so amazing, and it's just like, yes, everyone knows Archewell Foundation, everyone knows that name now. It's like Harry and Meghan's Archewell, and I love that people know. I love that people know the name, and so it's really wonderful. So anyway, that's just, I am just so proud of them and the work that they are doing. So kudos to these girls, wishing them all best of luck. So anyway, moving on. And what do you know? Real life is here. I mean, I know we've all been talking about it for the whole a month and something now. What's been going on in the Middle East and Israel and Palestine, in Gaza, and it's just real life is here. And sometimes, no matter how much you want to, some days I'm like, I just want to lay here, pull a blanket over my head, and sleep for a month. This never happens, but what are we gonna do? But they're good in spite of all the tragic stuff that is happening, in spite of all the atrocities and all of that stuff we see daily and bombarded with daily. There is some good news. People are beginning to stand up. People are beginning to say, no, I'm not going to be party to this. They are beginning to pull away and not being party to genocide. And so one of the things that I was very happy to see is the refusal to handle military equipment for war in Palestine. And this is the trade union in Belgium, who refusing to handle any war equipment that they know that's going to go to Israel that will be used in Palestine. It says, while genocide is underway in Palestine, workers at various airports in Belgium see weapons leaving for a war zone. Loading and unloading these weapons help provide organizations with the ability to kill innocent people. We and various trade union organizations active in the ground handling sector call on our members to no longer handle flight shipping military material to Palestine, Israel, as there is a clear agreement and rules at the beginning of the conflict with Russia. And it goes on. So we therefore call for an immediate ceasefire, and we ask the Belgian government to be consistent and not to tolerate arms shipment passing through Belgium airports. As trade unions, we declare our solidarity with those who campaign for peace. And those are the unions in Belgium. So wonderful to hear about that. Also, Bolivia. These smaller countries are the ones that are standing up. They are standing up and being on the right side of history. And Bolivia has decided to cut ties with Israel And it's just like, you go Bolivia, and it's just really wonderful to see. It's like breaking. Bolivia has now officially cut ties with Israel. The decision comes after former Bolivian President Evo Morales called on his country's government to cut ties with Israel and declare it a terrorist state in light of the massacres it is committing in Gaza. Spectator Index reports that Chile recalls its ambassador from Israel over unacceptable violations of international law. So it is wonderful to see people are, they're like, no, we're not going to do this. Also, Jordan has recalled its ambassador to Israel and has informed Israel that the presence of an Israeli ambassador in Amman is conditional on Israel ending the war in the Gaza Strip. Irish foreign minister has now called for a ceasefire. Our government should be showing this kind of leadership. Yes, our government here in the U.S. should be showing it. Also, the director of UN Human Rights in New York, Craig Markiber, has tendered his resignation, citing his profound disagreement with the United Nations approach to the Israel-Hamas conflict. And it just, people are just resigning. They're like, no, this is wrong, and I'm not going to sit here. But the UN has been so far useless in so many ways. They have just completely been useless. They're sitting on Twitter posting all day and literally doing nothing. And whether they just don't have the ability or the power to act, it has just been amazing watching people who are supposed to be watching and being the watchdog in the sense of human rights around the world, literally rendered useless by a rogue state. And so he has resigned in protest. And some of what he says, I write at this moment of great anguish for the world, including for many of our colleagues. Once again, we are seeing a genocide unfolding before our eyes, and the organization that we serve appears powerless to stop it. As someone who has investigated human rights in Palestine since 1980, lived in Gaza and in the UN Human Rights Advisors in the 1990s, and carried out several human rights missions to the country before and since, this is deeply personal to me. I also worked in these halls through the genocides against Tutsis, Bosnian Muslims, Yazidi, and the Rohingya. In each case, when the dust settles on the horrors that has been perpetrated against defenseless civilian population, it became painfully clear that we had failed in our duty to meet the imperative of preventing mass atrocities, of protection of the vulnerable, and of accountability for perpetrators. And so it has been with the successive waves of murders and persecution against the Palestinians throughout the entire life of the UN. High Commissioner, we are failing again. This is a textbook case of genocide. The European ethno-nationalist settlers colonial projects in Palestine has entered its final phase towards the expedited destruction of the last remnant of indigenous Palestinian life in Palestine. What's more, the governments of the United States, United Kingdom, and much of Europe are wholly complicit with the horrific assault. Not only are these governments refusing to meet their treaty obligation to ensure respect for the Geneva Convention, but they are in fact actively arming the assault, providing economic and intelligence support, and giving political and diplomatic cover for Israel's atrocities. And so he didn't hold back. He didn't hold back. And so I was very happy to see that somebody willing to stand up and resign in protest of what is going on. So thank you for lifting your voice. So anyway, so he is left, and so we'll see what he will be doing afterwards. And so again, real life, we have to deal with it no matter what. It doesn't ask us, or it doesn't come at convenient times. We definitely have to deal with real life. A more real life. West Yorkshire Police investigating serving officer over racist and WhatsApp message. So what is it with Metropolitan Police officers on WhatsApp and being racist on WhatsApp? The officer's ex-wife said she understood that the West Yorkshire Police has not looked into the content, even though she sent its screenshots earlier this year. She told Sky News they were racist and just vile messages, mainly about the royal family, Meghan Markle, the Queen. There are others that just really misogynistic messages that weren't funny, but for some reason they all thought it was hilarious sending these things around. The content appears to be the same or strikingly similar to that which 5 former Metropolitan officers last month admitted to sending. The officers pleaded guilty the Westminster Magistrate Court to sending grossly offensive racist message over a 2-year period that featured the Duchess of Sussex, the late Queen, and Prince Philip. And again, I'm so happy the Sussexes are not in the UK, that they don't have to rely on these racist people to protect them. Because really, would you want these people protecting you? I think not. So very happy the Sussexes are where they are. Moving on. Oh, this photo. Moving a little bit to King Charles is now in Kenya. And so we're not covering any of that stuff, but I wanted to do this photo. I saw this photo today. I was like, oh, Lord. And so there's all kind of drama going around this photo. I don't know that drama, but a lot of comments, at least, about this photo as to apparently it was at some gardens where King Charles went into the garden and Camilla decided to stay in the car. Somebody at Nation Africa took this photo of Camilla in the car, and obviously there are a lot of comments about this. She's not looking happy. She's not looking, like she wants to be there. She's just looking miserable. And the thing about it is, look, there's a lot of things I could knock Camilla for. There's a whole lot. There's a laundry list of things. I'm just not going to knock her for this one, because I think about it. It's like, look, she is a 75-year-old woman. A 75-year-old woman, a very long flight to Kenya. And then, she's somebody who she hates flying. And so I don't know if she gets upset stomachs or whatever it is she gets, but she hates flying. And so she took this long flight to Kenya and then had to get up the next day to perform, basically. And so I don't know if it was me. I'm the same way. I hate flying. So if it was me taking this long flight to Kenya and then I have to get up the next day and perform, and you have to be at your best dress and people are dancing and all those things, that's a little overwhelming. That whole thing is a little bit overwhelming. And so I can understand, at some point in the day, it's like, look, I can't go on. I just need to sit in the car. I totally understand that. I'd probably be the same. I know I wouldn't be doing something the next day, maybe the day after. But she had to get dressed, and again, I could knock Camilla for a whole number of things, and she totally deserved it. I don't think she deserved it. I give her a break for this because, again, she's a 75-year-old woman who hates flying, and it just, this kind of things is just not for her. I think that the royal family, they need to figure out what the engagements and the things that suits her. Traveling these long distances doesn't seem to be her thing. There's this awkward video going around of her just awkwardly holding these ladies' hands while they dance and come into this place. And it's just like, she looks like she was captive by these people. And it was very funny watching it. But again, even if she was a little bit like, unsteady, or not unsteady, but a little bit like, I don't know, just kind of look out of, it's like she's a 75-year-old woman, and look, we all respond differently to these things. And so she could have been feeling sick, she could have been, anything could have happened. So I'm going to give Camilla a break on this. I'm not going to judge it at all. And if she's not feeling well, I hope she feels better. And that's all I'm going to say on that. Break because of her years. So yeah. Anyways, moving on. I saw this and I burst out laughing because, talk about staying under royal family, the gaslighting. Royal family money-saving hacks could help you save cash. It's just like, you take all the taxpayer money and you're talking about saving? It just is very funny. But so I was very curious about what these hacks are that, the royal family is going to teach the world. Very. Says the late queen was not a fan of expensive gifts, even though she received few during her many years on the throne. She has saved wrapping paper and ribbons so they could be reused for future festive celebrations. So, yeah, she just saved her wrapping paper. And it goes on to say, you might imagine Buckingham Palace to be overwhelming and warm, but King George said to have hardly bothered to heat the building. So it was so cold that Eleanor Roosevelt, wife of wartime leader Franklin D., complained of getting chilly feet. The late queen would pack rooms not with central heating, but cheap 2-bar electric fires. Amazing. A former royal chef said that Charles makes a of asking not to be served too much food. She said to be very conscious that nothing goes to waste and that today's roast lamb is tomorrow's shepherd pie. You know, it's just funny that it's coming from Charles, the guy who basically gets 86 million pounds a year from taxpayers who literally can't afford to feed the family. But Charles, with all that millions, is let me give these our subjects a little bit of a lesson of how to save cash while I take theirs, while I take their millions. And but anyways, this other one is their little cash saving tips. If you're lucky enough to afford a wax jacket, then do what King Charles does and wear it until it falls apart. I'm one of those people who hate throwing anything away. Hence, I'd rather have them maintained, even patch if necessary. So, yes, patch up your clothes, sew up your clothes. Don't go just buying a new outfit. You know, that's another one of the tips from the people who take away 86 million pounds from taxpayers. You go, King Charles. Very interesting. It's just like, okay, you know. And then there's this Edward Emenfield, named UK most influential Black person in 2024. Okay, kissing up to royals and kissing their boots. I mean, I'm telling you, hey, it has its benefits, and I guess this is one of them. Yes, Edward Emenfield. Next. Did you guys hear this story? This is just the most ridiculous thing I've heard in a very long time. You know, this, I don't know what it is about older people in the UK. My grandmother always taught me that when you're older, you're supposed to be the one that the community turned to because of your wisdom and you've been alive for all this time. So the younger generation will look up to these people. And that's what I was taught. And I was taught in a way to respect older people. But for some reason in the UK, that sort of switched on the head. The older you get, it seemed to be the nastiest you become, with no morals, with no empathy, with no anything. And it's just, you see it over and over and over. And it's like, oh my gosh, people, as you get older, please age with grace. Not so for Lady Anne Glancomer, 91, a soulmate of the late Queen's sister, Princess Margaret, and close friends of all the royals, including King Charles. Told a literary festival, John Kerry once remarked to her that Americans feels very, very, very sorry for Prince Harry. Glancomer said Kerry made the comment expressing his sympathy for Harry in front of the First Lady Jill Biden at King Charles III's coronation. In her account, Kerry, the first U.S. Special President Envoy for Climate, did not say why he felt sorry for Harry, but a spokesman for Kerry refuted any suggestion that he was commenting on Harry and Meghan's marriage. Glancomer was answering a question from an audience member at the public talk at the Barnes Book Fest in London about the Sussexes' decision to step back from royal life. She had moments earlier criticized Harry's wife, Meghan Markle, because she believed Meghan had expected her royal life to comprise of riding around in gold carriages. These people are so deluded, it's not even funny. It is just like, what are you talking about? You people were chastising Meghan for sending emails at 5 a.m. Now you're claiming that all she wanted to do was riding around in an uncomfortable gold carriage? Unbelievable. So Daily Beast also wrote about it. It says a former lady in waiting to the late Queen younger sister has seen her claims officially refuted in the U.S. State Department statement. They insisted Kerry had no recollection of the alleged conversation and insist he would not be drawn into public discussion of a private nature. The statement said any implication that Secretary Kerry was commenting on the marriage would be wrong. Secretary Kerry does not remember being asked that question, but as a father in the public eye himself, he has nothing but empathy for people working through family matters. We all deserve privacy and compassion. And it's again, gosh, it's unbelievable to me that this woman is 91 years old and this is what you're doing with your life. It's unbelievable. It seems like everybody from the US who either crosses over to the pond gets asked about Harry and Meghan. And it's just like, what is wrong with you people? And John Kerry had to take his time out from the State Department to answer this nonsense by this woman who just like, lady, find something useful to do with your life. Go feed some birds or something. Anything. It's amazing to me. Again, Tom Bauer, the same thing, the same way. That they are, you would think that in the latter stages of their life, that they would be focused on stuff that are more positive, that is, that they can teach the younger generation. But it seems the older they get, the nastier they got. So anyway, moving on from that nonsense. This is really wonderful. Two participants of the Invictus Games Dusseldorf spoke at Lookout and about their experience in Dusseldorf. And it's just really wonderful to read their experience and how, it affected them. And it says, and of course, Invictus Vancouver Whistler tweeted about it. It says, great to hear the positive stories from Team Canada competitors Nick Holium and Tracy Barlow as they reflect on their experiencing participating in the Invictus Games Dusseldorf 2023. Two members of Team Canada praised the powerful impact and mental health benefits of the 2023 Invictus Games in Germany. Locally, Major retired Nick Oleum of COMEX and Lieutenant Commander Tracy Barlow, former CFB Equimalt logistician, now posted to Ottawa, were part of the team that competed September 1916 in Dusseldorf. Both are diagnosed and in recovery from post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and other mental health injuries. My participation in the Invictus Games was a life-changing experience, says Lieutenant Commander Barlow. From the moment I attended the first Team Canada training camp, I was accepted for who I am, for who I really am, and not judged because of my injuries. Her teammate was equally impressed by the healing power of Invictus. It was an epic experience, considering how much hard work and preparation and sacrifice I had put into being there, said Holium. I had a lump in my throat for both the opening and closing ceremonies, and hearing 23,000 people chant, Canada, Canada was truly amazing. Lieutenant Commander Barlow is a survivor of military sexual trauma, or MST. She competed for Canada in a wheelchair rugby, archery, and indoor rowing. She heard about the healing power of Invictus Games during her own recovery from a friend and coworker who had previously participated in the games. The payoff has been greater than expected. The games are helping her to look forward to a brighter future. And it is just that, what else can you say about that, right? That's what you want. That is amazing. That is so amazing. I'm so happy that they both had such a great experience and are able to share it and, look forward to others, them sharing their experiences, and others of their, other war veterans can take advantage of the services and all the things that are part of the Invictus Games. So so heartwarming, this incredible story. And this is wonderful. Invictus Games tweeted this out. It was wonderful to see Madame Macron. This is the President Macron's wife. Madame Macron host Team France at the Élysée Palace to recognize their incredible achievement of competing at the Invictus Games Dusseldorf. And again, this is President Emmanuel Macron's wife. And so she's called Madame Macron. And that's the French team with her there. That is so wonderful that she took the time to recognize them. And this is another post about it. And there she is with a couple more of the vets. It says, thanks to the godmother of the team, Mrs. Brigitte Macron, for this invitation to the Élysée, accompanied by our loved ones, to close this beautiful adventure of Invictus 2023. We all enjoyed this moment, the opportunity to exchange and get together on the way to new goals for 2024. And this is from Sule_KVT. And it's just wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful to see the government official or the wife of the president just celebrate these incredible men and women who participated in the Invictus Games. So kudos to all of them. It's just wonderful. And this is another photo of them. It's like, how awesome is this? This is just absolutely awesome. So just like, oh, I love to see them, I love to see them treat vets in this way. It's just such a special thing for them. I mean, look at this gentleman over here with his I Am Invictus medal around his neck. I mean, how proud they are. And it's so heartwarming. So kudos to everyone. So yes. And so that's it, guys. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to our awesome moderators, Lydia, Churchnelli, Karen M, Cookies and Cream, and Black Bean for taking care of our chat and just being all around just awesome in every way. Thank you so much. For everything you do for the channel. Thank you to our 2 Cents Crew members who support the channel on a monthly basis. Thank you. And to all our Gold Star supporters who support in the chat, who donate in the chat. I appreciate you. I see you. And I am just, thank you so much. And for those of you who are have not subscribed, if you're here, please go ahead and subscribe. Click the notification bell so that you know when we drop a video. Yeah, and please like the video, share it, help us to continue to build this platform, that it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And with your help, we can do it. So thank you guys so much. Have a fantastic evening. And I'm doing a late recording just in case you don't know. Anyway, I shall see you later. Have a great day. Bye.